Welcome to Therapy Talks, the podcast. So today we don't have any guests, but you have me, your host, and your guest. And today we're going to have a really good time talking. Today's topic is recognizing red flags in a relationship. Have you been in a relationship where you feel like you've recognized your red flags, but you wasn't sure if that was red flags? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Red flags. How do you identify them? What to look out for? And how to spot a red flag relationship, right? So I'll give you a few tips on how to spot them. Firstly, love bombing. This relationship starts off with love, with admiration, with flowers, even, right? With trips, with gifts. And you feel like this person is your soul mate. For those of you who have been in a home environment that you didn't have love or you didn't have admiration from your parents or other family members, you may think that you finally found your soul mate. And you might say, oh my God, I love this person so much and they really know who I am. Of course, because during the love bombing phase, there's a part of that phase where that person records every single conversation that you are having with them in the beginning. So they take notes of the conversation, they record it, they really gather information. So this is also, in addition to the love bombing, this is the information gathering phase. And so they are gathering this information to do two things: to mirror the information. So when they gather the information, they are going to pretend to have similar likes, similar hobbies, and similar interests as you. So that really solidifies the connection. It makes you feel as though you have this bond, right? So in order for them to create a bond, they have to have this illusion of a really good spouse, right? So you might say, okay, this person likes football, I like football. This person loves art, I like art, right? But the person doesn't really love these things, they're just manufacturing it. And I can tell you one thing. When you are in a love bombing phase, the difference between the love bombing phase and a healthy relationship is that a healthy relationship, your partner is much more slow. So they take their time with communication, they take their time to get to know you, they take their time with literally everything. But for some persons who never experience that because they have been exposed to so many unhealthy partners, they see this as a boring partner. But essentially, a healthy partner is really a boring partner in a sense because they don't rush things, they are not manipulative, they're not gaslighting you, right? And we're going to get into those terms later on. So the first thing is the love bombing. And you're in this really amazing relationship. And this is the introduction to trauma bonding. So trauma bonding is when you bond with another person through highs and lows. And the highs really tips off your dopamine receptors. And the dopamine receptors are there to make you feel good. So your feel good chemicals are being triggered in the relationship with all the messages and the calls and the going on dates together and meeting family members and wearing the same color jerseys. And you're like, oh my God, this person is the love of my life. And then you really connect with this person's comments over your life. So you look forward to their how they see your hair, right? How they comment on your body, and you really look forward to the compliments from this next person. And that is where we fall into the loophole or into the tunnel, right, of an unhealthy relationship. And we're going all the way down in the tunnel. Like, have you all ever seen Alice in Wonderland? You're going down to this mysterious relationship, right? Where you think it's all glitters and gold because they are love bombing you. The love bombing phase don't really have a time limit. So some people are love bombed for literally a whole year. But you will see certain things, right? Firstly, that partner will have a problem with setting boundaries. So when you tell your partner, I don't really like to go a certain place, they may want to test your boundaries and go a certain place. You may tell your partner, well, I don't really appreciate certain things, right? And they may do it in a subtle way, right? Just to kind of quote unquote expose you to these things that you don't really like. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the past relationships your partners had. One of the main things with a non-healthy partner on a red flag is that they normally say their ex is crazy. They're like, oh, she's a crazy woman or he's a crazy man. And newsflash, when you get to know this partner, you might become the crazy person because that person oftentimes they try to villainize their ex-partner. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to their friendships. What type of friends they have? Do they have friends who's unfaithful? Do they have friends who's always with doing things that you that does not align with your values? Clubbing, liming, always with multiple women or men. Look at the friends, right? Birds of a feather flock together, right? But not all the time this happens. But if a person is comfortable with a certain person or a certain group of persons, it says something about them. So pay attention to that, right? So let's go down from the love bombing. What happens after the love bombing is subtle criticisms. So they may criticize your hair, your makeup, or your clothes, or they may criticize if it's a man. They may look at your figure and say you might need to go to the gym. I like fellas who fit, but they didn't meet you fit, right? So they start to slowly criticize your physical appearance. And then now you questioning whether or not you're attractive enough for this person who admired you and who showered you with so much love and affection. Now you want to please the person because remember, that person makes you feel good. This is where the relationship takes a turn. After you have experienced that, here comes the gaslighting. When they deny your reality, right? So they deny your reality through, sometimes you may see them doing something and they may say, I didn't do it that way. I didn't say it that way. That is not what happened. And now you questioning what happened. These are the same persons who you thought you can trust, the same spouse you thought you could trust. Now you're questioning, am I like overthinking? You might hear them say something and you're like, am I overthinking? One of the common things I see with that is when you have to literally screenshot a WhatsApp conversation and say, yes, you literally say this because they are always denying your reality. So pay attention to when somebody denies your reality. Another thing is if that partner that you're with always trying to manipulate you. Manipulation is when they try to play with your emotions. They always trying to manipulate you in a joking way. They may criticize your career, they may criticize something that you have on or something that you like. And they may do this in a playful way, but pay attention to the hazard of jokes, right? I call it the hazard of jokes because not every joke is a funny joke. Some jokes are there to give you a subtle, to send you a subtle message that they don't like what you're doing or they're not in agreement with a certain thing that you are doing. But this makes you as a person, right? After that, now you're entering into the realm of devaluation. Devaluation is when they devalue you. They take away your value. They take away your worth. So they make you feel like you're not good enough to be with them. So they withdraw communication, affection, love, attention, admiration. Everything you experience in the love bombing phase is withdrawn. And then they start to trickle the love. You have to beg them for communication. You have to beg them for sex. You have to beg them for attention. They don't really spend much time with you. They are withdrawing from the relationship. Oh my God. I talking about this and I'm like exhausted, right? Pay attention to when they withdraw from you. The withdrawal might appear as though you might need to put in more work to get back the attention because you're begging them to just be the same person they was in the beginning, your best friend, your partner, the love of your life, and all of that, right? When that stage comes, this is when they start to control you because you want to get them back, right? And the reason why they love bomb you is to control you in the first place. They control you through the acts of love. That's how people bond. They bond through different ways, right? Because we have literally 5 love languages, okay? So I can tell you that in my experience in an unhealthy relationship, one things I recognize is the person's entire mood changing. It's like you are one person one day and then you are another person the next day. But that is not the truth. The truth is the person that you are seeing, the mask that you are seeing is the actual person. So some of us aren't able to identify those masks because we think the love bombing, the admiration, the affection, we think that is the person that we are with. But the real person is when the mask slips off and they are not being attentive, they're not being loving, they're not being affectionate, they are comparing you to other people. That is who you're really with. So relationships is very, it could be very wonderful, but it can also be very challenging, right? So a relationship is really a partnership. And if you don't feel like you're with a partner, then you're definitely not in the right relationship. But the first relationship, and this is what I really want to tell you guys today, the first relationship have to be with self. It have to be with how do you show up for yourself? What do you do for yourself that you as a person is healthy for you? Because in the absence of you being a healthy person for yourself, it might be very difficult for you to recognize when somebody's being unhealthy with you. Because you don't think you deserve, some people don't think that they deserve a healthy relationship. They may say, I want a healthy relationship, but are you healthy? Do you take care of yourself? Do you treat yourself good? Have you ever been alone for a prolonged period of time? Have you ever go and just do your nails if you're a woman, or go to the spa, or just do something for you? Some of Sometimes it starts with us. And when I was in my unhealthy relationship, I was at the lowest of my life. I was at that junction where I was really low and I did not love myself. And I can say this. And at that time when I didn't love myself, the person I was with didn't love me either. And I didn't recognize that the fact that they didn't love me is because I didn't love me either. So sometimes you don't love yourself, right? But give yourself grace, because we all go through periods of not loving ourselves, because we're always growing and we are always learning. And one of the most fundamental places to learn sometimes is in a relationship, because relationships is exposure. It exposes you to all your traumas, your unhealed parts. It exposes your real feelings about yourself and what you're able to tolerate. And that exposure sometimes could be a transformative journey for us, where we see what we experience in this relationship and then we start to internalize it and say, what about me is allowing this type of person to be in my life? Why don't I take a different turn? I am the one who could really set the tone for this relationship. And on this episode, I want you all to really do some self reflections and really think about what might be really pulling you towards an unhealthy partner, and even worse, not recognizing the red flags, not recognizing the manipulation, the gaslighting, the games. Gaslighting, as I said, is denying your reality. Games is a push and pull when the person comes into your life already having the ulterior motive that they are going to play games with you. That unhealthy partner who you think doesn't know what they are doing, that person knows exactly what they are doing. It's don't make up any excuses. Don't go on Google. Don't even use ChatGPT to figure it out. They know that they are unhealthy and they do not care. But you have to care, because when that person leaves you, you are with yourself. And whatever the person does here, you have to face. You will have to eventually face yourself when this person leaves you. And sometimes that is where we have the challenge, facing ourselves. And today I want to leave you with 3 ways to face yourself with confidence. Stand up and look yourself in the mirror. Start to redefine who you are. You can change your clothing, you can change your physical appearance if you want. You could change the color of your hair. Do something that represents change and transformation for you once you're able to leave that unhealthy relationship. Look at your cupboard. If you don't like the clothes that you see in your cupboard, change clothes. Start doing little things to be to remind yourself of who you are, right? And the last thing I want to leave you with is know that it's better to be single and by yourself than to be in a relationship with somebody who treats you as though you're single anyways. So unhealthy partners are not partners. They are here to control you, to take from you, and to really dominate the relationship because their idea of love is power and control. And your idea of love is connection. So you want something that that person is unable to give you. But I want you today to give yourself something. Give yourself love today. All right, guys? I will be back with some more therapy talks. All right. Um, as we go through this therapy journey, we're going to have a wonderful guest in the upcoming Saturdays, right? The Saturday after next Saturday. And you are going to be exposed to so many stories and so many persons, right? That you can relate to and that can really help you to make a difference. So, guys, on that note, I'm out.